Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped, and welcome to this week's Midweek 180. I've got man flu, people, so huge amounts of sympathy, please. Just, gush sympathy in the comments for me, because I feel really rough. Anyway, just need to crack on. No time to be sick in this household. But yeah, massive positivity for the new format Midweek 180, which is great. I think I'll probably still keep the name Midweek 180, even though it's not 180 seconds, but it's just that that's what people know it as. But yeah, I'm really, really delighted that you are enjoying it, and it kind of gives me more scope to do stuff, that's for sure. So lots to talk about this week, lots of things happening in my world. We'll start off with some housekeeping though. Leader of the pack last week was Francois G, joined in the Magnificent Seven by Rod Matheson, Michael Kember, Anthony Finch, Leanne Jackson, Stephen Spink and Malcolm Brew. So whoever puts the first comment this week, you'll be my leader of the pack next week, and the first 7 comments will be in my Magnificent Seven. Where are you and what are you doing? Well, that was Keith Waybury, who is in a motorhome in Tasmania, Australia. That's about as far away from here as you can get. I think that's really, really cool. But wherever you are right now and whatever you're doing, put in the comments below and I'll give you a shout out next week. Now, last week's question, I think, was the most positively answered question of any question I've ever asked. I asked whether you were Android or Apple, and it's amazing, telecoms nerd coming out here, how, that's it. That's the only choice you've really got. I mean, there's still a couple of very niche platforms out there, but it's going to be Android or Apple. So the votes are in. 58 of you were Apple, 45 of you were Android. So that's a rough 60-40 split in favour of Apple, which actually globally bucks the trend, but is quite interesting. Question. How many of you got a jack in your car? So you will not believe it, but I've got another puncture in me Hendy Group long term. I can't believe it. And actually the worst thing is it's one of the tyres that I got sorted out last week. So I thought, this is not a problem. I'll just get a new tyre and I'll take the wheel off and I'll take the wheel. I don't need to worry about the car. I'll take the wheel to the local tyre fitting place and get it sorted. There's no jack in the car. So we go into the user manual, which is now online. And there's a jacking point for a jack, as in a scissor jack that you would get with a car, but we don't have one of those. We have a trolley jack. So I've just got some clarification this morning. I think we know how to jack the car up, but my mate Will and I were laughing at the weekend because you think, how hard can it be to jack a car up? But the problem with electric cars is they're so heavy, and I'm worried that if you don't jack it in the right place, there's a lot of plastics under the car. One, you could have the jack go through the plastics, which happened to me years ago. I went to Quick Fit and when I had my Toyota Celica, and some young oik put a trolley jack under the car at the front to raise the front of the car up. And I was watching from the viewing area and the car just went fadoof, and 2 trolley jacks went through the floor pan of my Toyota Celica. It wasn't great. I might have sworn a little bit. But yeah, hopefully that might well be sorted. But do you have a jack in your car? Because if you don't have a spare wheel, like even a space saver wheel, the likelihood is you won't. Formula E at the weekend. Now, I mentioned about being a sort of ambassador for Nissan Formula E. The race from Sao Paulo at the weekend, just go and watch the highlights. I know it's now behind a paywall, but the highlights are available on YouTube. You can just do a search. It's got the best last lap. It's a phenomenal last lap between Sam Bird and Mitch Evans. And Sam Bird literally took it on the last corner for Neon McLaren's first Formula E win. And it's Sam's first win for quite a long time. Then Mitch Evans was second for Jaguar. And then Oliver Rowland for Nissan started P11, ended up on the podium P3. But the really cool thing, he went from P5 to P3 on the last corner. It was a brilliant race. So we always bemoan Formula One for no overtaking. Well, there was plenty of overtaking in the Formula E race at the weekend. And then the next round, round 5, is in Tokyo, and I'm there. So I can't wait for that. Very, very exciting. While we're talking about electric cars going around circuits quickly, last week, I could have probably put it in last week's Midweek 180, to be honest. There's a few bits and bobs about the new Porsche Taycan Turbo GT, an insanely fast car. But again, have a look on YouTube. It's just set the lap record at Laguna Seca, and the onboards are amazing to watch. Really, really impressive. And then talking about electric cars on track, so this afternoon, so I'm filming this on Monday, by the way. So this afternoon, I'm due to be with BYD to drive their Seal. And I actually got to drive the Seal on track at Goodwood at the Media Day last Wednesday, which was really interesting. So make sure you tune in for that. I'm really hoping I'm feeling well enough to go this afternoon. All I want to do is cuddle up in bed under a duvet and get better, because tomorrow I actually fly to Italy with Jeep to drive the new Jeep e-Hybrid. And it's a cool trip because we get to drive it at Bolocco, one of my favourite places. That's Jeep and Alfa and Fiat's test track facility in Italy. It's an amazing place. So I really want to go on that trip. I'm just battling being well. And then Thursday night is the Born Free dinner I mentioned. So I just have to be well this week, and I have to be well next week because I'm going to Tokyo. The live Drive Talk podcast on Friday. To any of you that came, we had 50 people turn up, and it was a mega event. We thoroughly enjoyed it. Feedback was very, very positive from everybody that came. We did record a podcast in the afternoon with Tony from TRL Deals. That will be going live this Friday at midday. The podcast in the evening was more of a kind of informal chat. We didn't record it, but it was a really, really successful evening. And it was a bit of a trial for us, so we will be doing more of those, you can be sure. We've got some things in the planning. And then a few of you came to Bewley Motor Museum on Saturday evening, where I hosted an evening with Tiff Needell. So Bewley do a thing called Transport Talk. And it was with Tiff, and Tiff asked me if I would host and compare it with him, and we had a brilliant evening. He's such a great guy, and now to be mates with Tiff, having grown up watching him on Top Gear and Fifth Gear, is quite something. So it was a really fun evening, and a few of you turned up, so thank you very much for that. And then winding up, just talking about content. This Friday at 6, I was really spoilt for choice. I've got 2 epic films. I always try and save my main films for a Friday. And I had 2 epic films. I had the Hyper Racer test, which I mentioned last week. And then last Wednesday, I drove back-to-back the McLaren 750S Coupe and Spider. I drove the Spider on the road and the Coupe on circuit. And so I had to flip a coin and make a choice. So this Friday at 6 is the Hyper Racer video. And then next Friday at 6 will be the McLaren 750S video. And all I'll say about Hyper Racer is the first sort of minute and a half to minute 45 was edited for me by one of the guys that came along, Alex, who did loads of really cool videography and then edited just the best intro of any video I've made yet. It's fantastic. I nearly swore then. So good. So make sure you tune in on Friday at 6 for that. And then on Monday next week, just while I've got you and you're thinking about content, last Wednesday I also got to drive the Lotus Amira with the 2-litre 4-cylinder AMG engine out of the A45S with a flappy paddle gearbox. I drove it around Goodwood. It's quite a kind of gun and run video. It's sort of 3 or 4 laps around Goodwood. Very quick, get in, try and work out the car, try and give you my driving impressions in a very short period of time. But not many people have driven that car yet, so it was great to actually get behind the wheel. So that's on Monday. So a really busy time. And then next Monday, pretty much by this time next Monday, I'll be on a plane. I'm leaving on a jet plane to Tokyo. So super busy. But yeah, there we go. See, that felt really busy, even though I didn't have a timer going. But yeah, I need to just pump myself full of drugs, and hopefully I'll feel better soon. But for now, I'm going to love you and leave you. If you enjoyed that, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come. And I'll see you on the next video, which is this Friday at 6 p.m. for Hyper Racer, the X1. I was very proud of the way I drove the Hyper Racer. I think you'll love the video. The intro's epic. It's like something out of a TV show. And the onboard, we use a really innovative camera that kind of velcros into the top of your helmet visor. So you get a really great point of view, my line of sight, really, if you like. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy that. Anyway, I'll see you on that one, guys. You take care. Drive safe.